Okay. Okay. One of you. Okay. Welcome everybody to the multi-locational meeting of the Cabinet as Trustees of Blackwood Miners Institute, which is held in Penalta House and via Microsoft Teams on Wednesday, the 10th of December 2025 at 3:30 p.m. This meeting will be live streamed and a recording made available via the Council's website, except for discussions involving confidential or exempt items. Therefore, the images and audio of those individuals present and or speaking at Cabinet will be publicly available via the recording on the Council's website, which is www.caerphilly.gov.uk. Okay, first on the agenda is to receive apologies for absence. Councillor Forehead and Councillor Nigel George, I understand. Any officer?
Yeah, just Rob Hatch, one leader.
Okay. Okay, so those apologies are noted. Number 2, declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and or prejudicial interests in respect of any items of business on this agenda in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Are there any declarations of interest at all? No? All okay? That's great. Okay, we now go to the approve and sign the following minutes. Cabinet as Trustees of Blackwood Miners Institute held on the 19th of March 2025. Just go through them page by page. That's pages 1, 2, 3 and 4. Anybody prepared to move those? Councillor Leonard and Councillor Morgan. Okay, all those show of hands if they're a true record. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, we now go on to the main agenda item to receive and consider the following report in which executive decisions are required, and that's the Blackwood Miners Institute Transition Update Feasibility Report recommendations. I'll be introducing the report and then I will go for questions, and also Caris, if you wanted to come in at any time to give your views as a member of the advisory panel. Yeah, welcome as well to Cabinet. Okay, so the purpose of this report is to seek Cabinet approval in its capacity as trustee of the Blackwood Miners Institute to consider the recommendations of the Owen Cultural Trust Feasibility Report and to confirm a preferred option whereby enabling the identification and progression of the next steps for implementation, and to present the listed building survey report and heritage statement for endorsement, and to seek approval for a delegated authority to the transition group in consultation with the Director of Legal Services to consider the legal implications of the proposed actions and report back to Cabinet, amend the charitable object and establish a trustee function committee with further reports to be presented to Cabinet as required. And 2.3, following Cabinet's endorsement of the 14-point plan at Cabinet as Trustees meeting held on the 19th of March 2025, CCBC commissioned consultants to undertake the feasibility study. In addition, a listed building survey and heritage statement have been completed to assess the condition of the long-term sustainability of the Grade 2 listed building. And during this period, the theatre has continued to operate successfully over the last 2 months. Just a bit of background. 43 performances have been delivered, 7,251 audience members attended during this period, 16,284 tickets sold for future performances. The Resilience Grant from the Arts Council for Wales, awarded in December 2024, covered the period to July 2025, has underpinned the operations, contributing £145,000 towards the staffing and operational costs over the last 2 financial years. In August 2025, BMI was awarded £222,000 capital grant from the Arts Council for Wales and Welsh Government, reflecting the strong external confidence in and support of the venue's future. The transition group has met regularly to oversee progress. The lead project officer has also engaged consistently with the advisory panel, providing scrutiny and acting as a critical friend, and the Arts Council of Wales and with the wider stakeholders to ensure momentum and transparency. The recommendations are outlined in 3, and I'll read them. The Cabinet as trustees consider the feasibility report and the full range of options presented, and the Cabinet as Trustees endorses progressing option 4 as outlined in the feasibility report by undertaking a market testing exercise to assess the level of interest from external organisations in managing the day-to-day operations at BMI. The Cabinet as Trustees receives a further report following the completion of the market testing exercise, outlining findings and next steps, and the Cabinet as Trustees notes the contents of the listed building survey report and the heritage statement, and the Cabinet as Trustees receives further reports on proposed amendments to the charitable objects of the Trust and on the establishment of the Trustee Function Committee. We've got a number of questions. Just wondered, Caris, would you like to come in now? Or no, not at all? That's fine. We've got 5 questions at least, Chair, but to second the recommendations, Councillor Leonard who has a question. Councillor Leonard?
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I am happy to second that report. My question is, as trustees, the Cabinet is legally obligated to act solely in the best interests of the Blackwood Arts Centre charity. These matters have been fully investigated by the appointed feasibility consultant who has assessed the sustainability of the proposed options and has provided recommendations for BMI's future operational structure. For our absolute assurance, do you believe enough time has been given to investigating all the potential options?
Thank you, Philippa. So, welcome, Bethan. Are you okay to answer these questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, a substantial amount of time has been dedicated to investigating all the options rigorously. The transition group has met on many occasions, as well as other officers and directors. Also liaised a lot with the consultants and engaged with the advisory panel and the Arts Council of Wales during the interim report stage and subsequent discussions. So there's been a lot of work and input from a lot of different departments and key partners. I just did want to say as well that we're currently behind the original time frame, but this is a direct result of the commitment we had to thoroughly explore all the options. This extended time frame has allowed us to reach a position where we are confident that we have a robust assessment to move forward with an option that is the right one.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bethan. Councillor Shane Cook.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Since the last Cabinet meeting in which the 14-point plan was endorsed and implemented, CCBC has not only appointed consultants to undertake a feasibility study, but in parallel, a Grade 2 listed building survey and heritage statement have also been commissioned and completed, providing a detailed assessment of the building's condition and future requirements. Are you content with the scope of the survey, the building's condition and future requirements? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Shane. Bethan?
Yes, we are very satisfied with the scope and the quality of the survey. Ross and his team at Initiate Architecture were brilliant and really thorough, and they frequently work alongside the appointed consultants as well, and they're highly regarded in the field. They delivered a full and detailed presentation of their findings to some of the transition group, but also other officers, such as the heritage officer, quantity surveyor, and the head of maintenance, to give everyone a full picture. And I've met with them as well to determine sort of the next steps. So the survey itself does show that there's no immediate threat or health and safety concerns, and it is in a relatively good condition for its age. However, it does identify areas that will require attention over the next few years, especially because of water ingress, which is a historical issue, and the roofing system. And what this reinforces that we should look at things strategically in terms of not quick fixes and temporary solutions, but long-term strategic planning. And the heritage statement as well really shows the significance of the building to the community and is a really important baseline document for if we want to make any changes moving forward. So just to reference the Blackwood placemaking plan that's been approved, it's a really good opportunity to work with the Welsh Government, external funders, for repair and development purposes.
Thanks, Bethan. I got one question. So after the 14-point plan was adopted, the theatre has continued to operate successfully, and it's great to hear the numbers there. That's fantastic. The Resilience Grant has supported the venue, and in August 2025, BMI was awarded a further capital grant of $222,000, demonstrating the continued backing of both the Arts Council for Wales and Welsh Government. And obviously, this sounds positive, but the question: do you believe this level of financial assistance could be achieved if the venue was transferred to a third party to undertake the management role?
We were very fortunate to secure both of those grants, and that's down to the hard work of officers and our strong relationship with the Arts Council of Wales. And the funding really is being put to excellent use for the sustainability of the building for future generations. That being said, it would be remiss of me to state that, yes, we could continue to get that level of financial assistance as a guarantee. But a lot of venues now are using like a mixed method approach. So you have the combination of public funding, but then secondary income generations as well, so sponsorship, private investment, donations, and then classes, community programs, and secondary spend. So over the last 6 months, the team at Blackwood Miners have been really working hard on all these things, and we're starting to get more people into the building, develop the community programme. In terms of it going out to another operator, as a local authority run venue, we are eligible for some funding, but actually having that sort of shared commitment with an external operator, funders look good on that, and it could widen the pool of eligible funds as well. So having a mixed method approach, a collaborative operating model and strong governance does put us in a better position to maximise the likelihood of securing funding in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Beth. And before I move on to Councillor Sten, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all the staff for all their hard work. I know it's been a bit of a tumultuous period. We fully recognise that. And I want to place it on record that the staff have been excellent throughout, and so have the community in coming through the door, and it's been great to see. So I want to put that on record. Councillor Enid-Stenner.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. The preferred option 4 proposes that the current charity leases and subcontracts operations to an established organisation to give Cabinet as trustees the balances it needs to come to an informed opinion. I will read some of the pros and cons of the options appraisals undertaken by Anwen. So the positives first: early realisation of financial saving, central support already in place. Although may not deliver council savings, asset remains within the council's control, ensures oversight of asset maintenance, subcontractor takes on operational trading risks. Operating experience potential for significant risk to be transferred depending on the operator. And now on to the cons. So, doesn't achieve current objective of unburdening the council of governance responsibilities. Ties council into a contractual period and fixed financial commitment. But the same can be true of any other models where council support will be required. Lack of local options may have a reputational risk. So just on the cons, if we did go with option 4, how could we mitigate the risks?
Thank you, Leonard. Bethan.
Okay, so in terms of unburdening the council of its governance responsibilities, firstly, I think it's important that we don't frame it as a burden and we look at it as more like a responsibility to safeguard a really important cultural asset for the community. And the governance responsibilities therefore still apply under option 4. However, the feasibility report does state that setting up a trustee function committee to oversee the governance mitigates some of those risks. I'm going to pass over to Caris now, who's going to carry on.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. Just to add into context, I'm the chair of the advisory panel. I'm also a chief exec of a national charity for young people, so I'm coming with some level of knowledge and understanding. I'm also a Blackwood resident, so kind of multiple hats on. I suppose the key thing for me is that if you, as trustee, decide that you want to pursue this option, one of the things that we would obviously suggests is that you retain a relationship with the advisory panel, and you establish the advisory panel as a local body that supports the governance and supports both Caerphilly Council and the trustee and the operator to ensure that local people's needs are being met and being considered, and that formalising of the structure with the trustee functions committee and the advisory panel will support that wider holistic view, ensuring that Caerphilly Council and Caerphilly residents get the best resources from the building and the charity itself. In terms of the council acting in the best interest of the charity in terms of its role as trustee, if you appoint a trustee function committee, what will happen is that you start removing some of the conflict of interest that currently exists between yourselves as councillors and as trustee of the building, of the charity. So I think you need to look at how a trustee function committee can support the local authority to meet its obligations to the Charity Commission, and I would advise that you start conversations with the Charity Commission very quickly, both in terms of how you might go about establishing a trustee function committee, because I think currently that would probably need some change to governing documents, but also at the same time you can discuss how you change the objects of the charity to make sure it's fit for purpose for future use. And as well as that, look at the right to lease the building. And Charity Commission are great. They give you lots of support, but every case is individual. So it's difficult for us to give specific advice at the moment. But a Charity Commission discussion would really aid that. But can I assure you that the recommendations in the report are looking at Blackwood Miners as a charity, but also in terms of ensuring that Caerphilly Council has retains the confidence in the future as it can do. Thank you.
Alan, yeah.
Just to reiterate what Caris has said, but to also say that's explicit in the report. That's the way the report is written, with the recommendations as they are set out, is following the discussions we've had with Caris and what she's just said to Cabinet as trustees today.
Absolutely, Alan, and just from myself and Cabinet, Caris, that is 100% what we will do. We value the relationship we have with yourselves, and it's good to meet with you on a regular basis. And you challenge us, and that's what you're there for. And we relish it, because ultimately, as trustees of the BMI, we need to be held to account. We need to hear from yourselves and residents about the best ways to operate, the building, and we see that as something that we have to maintain going forward. Bethan, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I was just going to address the other two cons and how we will mitigate the risk. So the other one was that it ties the council into a contractual period and fixed financial commitment. So how this risk will be mitigated is through a clear and robust management agreement that will have monitoring arrangement and a clear financial contract. At this stage, all I can say is that measures will be put in place to allow flexibility, but also give assurance and stability to both the council and the operator. The other one, which is an important one, because Blackwood Miners is known for being a valley venue, the staff really care about the people. They know the people that come in the building. So the reputational risk is there. So that will be mitigated with a transparent procurement process, but mainly by the vision and the values and the objects of the charity all being part of that process. So in the first phase, the expressions of interest, from that we will get an idea of who is out there who would like to potentially operate, and things will be put in place to make sure its significance for the community isn't tarnished.
Thank you, Bethan. Councillor McConnell.
Thank you, Leader. The option of retaining BMI fully in-house was carefully assessed. Whilst this would have provided the council with direct control, significant challenges were identified. These included the continued requirement for high levels of subsidy, limited capacity to diversify income, and difficulties in reconciling the council's executive functions with its charitable trustee responsibilities. So in relation to option 4, how does this option answer some of the problems associated with in-house? Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Bethan?
Thank you. The level of subsidy could be reduced over time. I suppose an external provider has got more opportunities to diversify income, whereas a local authority is more restricted to do so. They'd also have a greater degree of autonomy and be able to implement positive change and different revenue streams more easily than the local authority could. It also sort of separates that operation governance that we discussed about with the trustee function committee. Went blank. But yeah, I don't know if you've got anything else to add, Al.
I think it's as simple as saying as an operator would be much more commercial than we would be in running the venue.
Yeah, that's a simple way of putting it, Al. I think that's, an operator who knows what they're doing is in the business, but obviously, in terms of the council having responsibility for the building, giving the community that assurance that that the council is a part player, but recognising that the expertise can sometimes lie outside of council control. I think that's a fair sort of assessment. Are there any other further questions at all, or observations or comments? No? Okay then. Well, the recommendations are in 3.1 to 3.5. I'm certainly happy listening to the conversation that's taking place today and hearing from yourself, Caris, Beth and Alan, about the way forward. I think the future is bright for the BMI. But rest assured, as I said to you just earlier, Caris, please feel free to, engage with us as you have done. Hold us to account, and pass on any advice or anything you might have, and we very much value that, and I genuinely mean that. And without any further questions or comments, I think we're happy to go to the vote. Rob.
Yeah, certainly, Leader. So, trustees, because you are with your trustee hats on this afternoon. There are 5 recommendations within the report. I'd be grateful if you could please vote on those recommendations. Thank you. And those recommendations are unanimously approved. Thanks, Leader.
Okay. Therefore, that is the end of the meeting then. Thank you very much, officers, Caris, Bethan, for coming along, and for Cabinet. There we are. That's the end of the meeting. Can we stop the recording?